The next tip that I've got, stay organized. This is obviously not much in here right now in my media bin or my media pool. Also, if you don't have this, click on this media pool right here and it'll open up all the media that you have imported into the project. Like I said, this isn't much right now, but there gets to be times where, I've got this thing will be full and I'll have to scroll through clips, audio clips, video clips, PNGs, all sorts of stuff, It's super easy to stay organized, to find your stuff easier. You can just literally make folders just like you would on like your file explorer on your computer. So if you right click into this media pool anywhere, click on new bin, you'll see this folder was created. You can rename it. Let's name this clips. Then you can literally just click and drag into that bin. I just moved the timeline in there. You can also move timelines in there too. So like a lot of times I'll have different timelines set up. So I'll make a folder just for timelines. Same thing. Let's make an audio folder. You can select more than one at once. Move all of them in there. So multiple timelines. I'll talk about that real quick, Omni. There's multiple ways to create timelines and multiple ways to view different timelines. If I'm editing, I will always adjust this timeline view options. So if you click on this, this is your timeline view, this is your video view. This is how you're probably used to seeing it. And you'll actually be able to see like the little thumbnails as the clip is moving up here. You'll see it changing down here. I don't like that because it is more taxing on your system. So I just change it to thumbnail view. Like I know what this clip is going to be. And it actually, if your clip is, or if your track is tall enough, it'll show you at each end what the clip is. I like it like that. It's a preference. The other thing I do for timeline view is I open up this little stacked timelines thing, and it basically will allow you to just create a whole bunch of different tabs like you would on like a browser, for example, on Microsoft Edge. Everybody loves that I use Microsoft Edge. But if I want to open up a new timeline, I just click that little plus button, drag a clip down into it, and I've got two timelines. So my first timeline has everything that we've been working on. Second timeline only has this one clip on it. It is important to note that like any audio changes you make, any like EQ presets or anything like that that you put on one timeline, you'll have to recopy that over to the next timeline. We can talk about that a little later at a different workshop or something like that. Anki, multiple timelines. So I use it for a few things. Like if I know that, for example, like if I have one very long video or like a normal like long form video that's like 15, 20 minutes long, and I know I want to like start pulling shorts out of it, what I'll do is I will have, okay, let's do this. Let's do a for example. We'll remove that timeline just for the ease of this example. So let's say we've got this timeline. This is not very long form. We're going to make it long form. We're going to make it super long form right now. It's going to be the most boring video ever. Okay, so this is my long form video right here, and I know that I want to pull a short out of this, a vertical short or a TikTok or whatever. So you can make the new timeline with this button, or you can right click in your media pool and make a new timeline. Timelines, create new timelines. If I create a new timeline just like this, it's going to be the exact same settings as the current timeline or as your project settings are. Uncheck project settings or uncheck use project settings. You'll go to format, and then you can start changing like your resolution, your FPS, all that stuff. Click this box, use vertical resolution, click on create. You'll see a new timeline was created right here, and you'll notice the resolution changed. So now what I can do is I can copy, let's say I want this section, close enough. We'll take this section right here. I'm going to Control Z. I'm going to bring it over here to my second timeline. I'm going to Control V and paste it in. That also works with cutting and pasting, Control X and Control V. So it's still in my first timeline. It's still in my second timeline, but now you can see that the resolution is vertical. Like, that's actually lined up perfectly. This guy's not, though. So I have all this real estate to move around with. I'm sure you guys know about this a little bit by now. But like, this will show you all the real estate that you've got. So I just want this guy's left shoulder in the shot. We can keyframe that there. And then we'll keyframe it here over to his right shoulder so that when it plays, it pans over from left to right. The wireframe, I clicked right here. This little transform thing here. You can toggle that on and off. Does it only render the current timeline? Yes. So if you want to render multiple timelines, like if I want to render this timeline number 1, you can rename all your timelines too. Right click on that tab, rename timeline. Long form shorts. If I want to render my long form, go down here to the deliver page, and this is my long form video. Whereas if I want to render my short, I have to click into and have this be my active timeline. Click deliver, and then rendering shorts is actually another kind of a thing. Like, you have to make sure that this use vertical resolution is checked here. Again, we can get into that in a little bit more detail. Will, you're talking about this number right here, Will? Yep, okay. So it's technically not 1 hour. So 1 hour would be it's technically not 1 hour, but that's in your project settings. No, I can't remember how to do that. User. I can't remember how to do this. It's been so long. Right here, user editing start time code. This will by default have a 1 in this spot. Just change it to a 0. That's all it takes. It should fix it for every project. Yeah, Omni, I think you're right. I think that's a scene number. I think that's what they call it.
So I do a lot of crossfades and opacity changes and layered special effects where I have one that's a blue screen and one that's the next one, and so there's several layers deep.
Mm-hmm.
How do your opacity and the crossfade effects work, and how difficult is it to do?
Way easier than it is on Sony Vegas. So if you go up at the top of the screen, you've got this effects library here. And then it's got all of these video transitions. These are all, I'd like to say these are all stock on the free. Okay, so everything above that, I believe, is stock free. But I know Chili said that some of these are not on the free version. I do have the paid version, so that's a little bit of a difficult area for me. But anyways, crossfades are easy. I actually have that set up to my default transition. So I can, okay, so you see it wouldn't let me put that on there. Normally you would just click and drag it to whatever, wherever you want to crossfade it. But the problem is I don't have, like in Vegas, you have to do it like this, I'm pretty sure. If I remember right.
No, you just drag the clips on top of each other on the same video line. And it does it automatically.
Okay. So the reason why it wouldn't let me put it on top of there right now is because there's not enough video to fade to one another. So what we have to do is we'll have to kind of shorten the start and end, and then I can put that on there, and you can see that dissolve, that cross dissolve. Or there's also a hotkey for that too. If I click on that and I push Control T, that'll automatically put my default transition on.
And you can also adjust the length of the crossfade.
Yes.
So how do you
And
change
then
opacity level?
opacity is also very easy. So I'm going to grab, where is it? I'm going to put this color on top of here just as an example. Actually, I'm going to do this on a long form so that the window's a little bigger for you guys to see. So I've got this clip selected. Over here is what is called the inspector tab. This is where you do like all of your special effect type stuff. I mean, like basic special effect type stuff. If I go into settings over here, I can go into composite. Opacity is right here. I can adjust this however high I want. And then, like, if I want to put, for example, say this clip on top of this clip and have them play over one another, I can do the same thing. I can just select, make sure this clip's selected, turn the opacity down. Why aren't you turning down? And now you can kind of see that it's got both clips at the same time there. That's actually kind of a cool scene right there. Oh, also, fun fact, you guys should know this too. Any clip, say you make an adjustment over here, like I zoom this green way out and I want it back to normal. If you double click on the zoom, it will reset that setting. Or this little button over here on the right, the little circle arrow back thing. You're still typing. I'm just inviting you to speak again. I feel like you still have more questions.
No, I English issues. All I was saying is that it just wouldn't be difficult to do a fade into a lower opacity and fade out to it for a small clip. That's all.
Nope, not at all. So this handle right here, you can see all the clips will have like this little white handle at the end of each of them, at the start and the end. So that's going to be kind of like your fade in. And you can extend that as long, literally as long as you want, the entire clip if you want to. And then say I don't want, on this clip, I don't want my max opacity very high at all. So it'll fade in. It will never get to max opacity. And then I can have it fade out there too.
I have to say real quick, you didn't mean to do this, but it almost looked like she was thinking about what to do.
Yeah, that was
when you did that. That was actually a really cool effect right there, dude.
Yeah, this is a really cool scene, like having these overlaid on top of each other like that. Power bins. All right. So over on the left-hand side here, there's this little thing called power bins. It will not be active by default. You won't see it. You'll have to click on... so if you click on media pool and open it up in this little three little buttons here, click on that, make sure show power bins is checked, because by default it will not be visible. You'll have smart bins visible. That's something that's totally different that I don't ever really use because I don't make movies. They seem more intuitive for making movies, because it kind of... Smart bins are good if you have a lot of metadata. And by metadata, I mean like stuff in here, like what camera was used, what reel it is, what scene it is, what shot, all of that stuff. But it'll basically will automatically organize all of your clips for you. The keywords thing is new. I'm not super familiar with keywords yet, but like you can go through and say like, I only want to view clips with audio only. And because all of my clips don't have audio, it's only showing me my audio clips. So smart bins are useful if you input the metadata, but anyways, I'm getting off topic. Let's talk about power bins. Power bins are incredible for carrying media from one project to another. I have all of these power bins created, and it's the same as like this up here in my media pool for this project. So this area here, this master clips audio, this is all only in this project. If I go to a new project, none of that stuff will be there. In fact, I'm going to open a new project just to show you none of that stuff is there anymore. So I'll switch back. Power bins, you can notice I have these things here. And if I switch to my other project, they're still here. These will carry over from project to project. Use them. I don't use them enough. I should use them more. But what they are is like it's literally as simple as dragging in a file. Let me try and find a file here. I have this halfway off screen so that you guys don't end up seeing like everything about me. Where is it? Royalty free video. So what I can do is I can take, and this works two ways. So I can bring in this folder. I can bring it up into my current project. I can drop it here, or I can, that's a power bin. I don't want to drop it in there. I can bring it up here and drop it into this media pool, or I can bring it over here and drop it in this media pool. It doesn't matter. It's going to show up. All of the clips inside of that folder show up. However, the same thing goes for the power bin. I can bring this folder right into here and drop it into my power bin. And now, where did it go? I think it went into, it didn't. Where did it go? Okay. I take that back. I think you have to put it into your media pool first and then carry it down to your power bin. Yep, that's how you do it. So you put it in your media pool first, then carry it down to your power bin. They're amazing. So like I've got, for example, I've got this PNGs folder that I don't use enough that has all these just different shapes in it that I can, you know, use for masking purposes and stuff like that. I've got this I need to make better, but this is some Limelight people's promotional stuff here. I've got all of my branding in here that I can carry over from project to project. I've got all of my cats information in here. I've got a like button, you know, just things like that. And now I have also these Adobe stock videos in here too that I don't want in there. Remove bin. So they're very useful. Buddy's legal name, no. Similar sound effects, yes. So I have actually the audio that I use for all of Buddy's stuff in here. His Christmas thing, another video another audio track that I use often for his stuff. The mouse clicks, I use these mouse clicks when I put the like button up there. Like all of that stuff, you can just carry it from one project to another. It's so easy.
So I have a question because I do a lot of like editing as I'm filming, so I'm constantly making new clips that I have to keep adding to the bin every time. Is there any sort of way to like just say like, okay, I want this folder that's in my on my files, I want that to be a bin, and it like automatically update as I put media
Will, you found DaVinci's one downfall. So I was getting to that with power bins too. These are not dynamic. So anytime you want to add something to a power bin, you need to physically bring the file into it.
Dang.
And the same will go for anything in your current project. Dang it, I just put this in here. I gotta stop putting stuff into my power bins. So yeah, anything will go, or that'll go for anything you want to bring into your current project. For me, I have all my OBS recordings going into its own separate folder, and I'll just bring them in one by one, like because I edit the same way you do, or I try to. I'll edit as I go, and I'll just like, as I film one or as I record one, I'll just bring it right in here. This will always keep it organized like in a logical order. Like you can see right now, these are all in alphabetical order. I know my OBS has weird file names that it puts on it. I'm sure everybody's is the same. It'll put them in order of however they're filmed. I think it's by like date or something like that, date and time.
One thing I realized I could do though, trying to figure out a solution to that, was you can like click and drag a folder and it will import all the media from that folder.
Yep.
So what I decided was easiest is like, because sometimes I'll record several clips and have to add them and I won't know which ones I've added and haven't, so I'll just like click and drag the whole folder again and it'll like update it.
Yep. So it won't like make duplicate copies of the same
Right.
media clip. Yeah, that's one way to do it too.
Okay. Thank you.
My problem with OBS though, all my recordings in OBS is I always have like way too many of them that I don't want for a project. Like I'll record a piece of one project and a piece of another project and a piece of another one. So if that makes sense. But yeah, definitely.